Are you guys ready for this week? Because I truly am. Why? I'm feeling that bullish energy, guys, arising. You know why? Well, there's a bunch of things to talk about. The banks are trying to fight this new system. Will they succeed or not? Probably not. Actually, in reality, we know they won't, guys. It's their last fight, it seems like, okay? Due to JP Morgan attacking Bitcoin once and for all, but it will probably be what triggers their own downfall, because we're starting to see insane amounts and an insane amount of new products launching for not only XRP but for every crypto here from Eric. So the new financial system is brewing as we speak, guys, right? They're just setting the rails here. There are 5 spot crypto ETFs launching over the next 6 days. So this week, all this week, guys, that's why I'm extremely bullish. Okay. Beyond that, we don't have the exact, but we expect a steady supply of them, likely over 100 in the next 6 months. Nice chart showing what's launched and what's on deck from. Okay, as we see, so we got Grayscale XRP Trust 11/23/2025. That was launched. It seems like launch date. Franklin XRP ETF that comes out to 11/24 today. So this has already been launched. Dogecoin is going live in 2 days from now, so that's crazy. A Doge ETF? Are you serious? Right? I think, to be honest, looking at all this, guys, I think we're about to see a spark in possible alt season, a very mini one. Okay, I think there's a chance that XRP goes back to 250, and then even Grayscale Chainlink Trust. Okay, so that's coming up soon as well. So we're starting to see a lot of products, guys, not only for XRP, but for a lot of these cryptos launching. Today, from Franklin Templeton, XRP fit the EASE formula, but the XRPZ ticker was just too clean to pass up. So XRPZ, Franklin XRP ETF, guys, the ticker is now live. And there it is. That's what I wanted to see. Let the money flood in, guys. Remember, these are huge institutions, okay? And they manage a lot of money. So first, share volume. So it seems like the money is already flooding in, guys, like millions of dollars. Okay. End of day projection seems to be about $33 million over there, 40 million. Okay. So to be honest, this is just there's going to be a steady amount of money that's going to be flooding into XRP, okay, over the coming days, weeks, and months. So honestly, that's very bullish. Justin, whales have quietly accumulated $7.7 billion of XRP over 3 months, right? So how are they accumulating so much, and why? Well, how? Probably maybe through over the counter, right? So off the open markets, but now we're starting to see supply getting eaten up, guys. Okay, due to the ETFs being launched, which pushes prices higher. So now that these ETFs are getting launched, what's going to happen to XRP? Well, XRP supply shock loading. JP Morgan says XRP and Solana ETFs could pull in $14 billion, right? They are one of the largest banks, guys. Plus, they have been attacking Bitcoin. Wait, so that's a little bit odd. You know what I just realized? Just now, JP Morgan has been attacking Bitcoin heavily. Okay, like if you guys see these tweets, guys, I have it all here. Large institutions sold $5 billion in MicroStrategy shares during Q3. JP Morgan, BlackRock, and Vanguard were among the biggest sellers of MicroStrategy stock. Isn't that a little bit odd? Wait a second, has nobody else noticed this? JP Morgan is bearish on MicroStrategy, right? Which the Bitcoin community is pissed about, so they're attacking JP Morgan. On the other hand, why is it that JP Morgan is ultra bullish on XRP, including Solana, guys, but it's only due to the ETFs, they say. Okay, why? Because they've seen what the ETFs did to Bitcoin and Ethereum. Okay, it's just like it's just a pathway opening up, guys, for the TradFi people to enter seamlessly. Okay, which will have an effect of XRP ballooning throughout the stratosphere. So that's why they're bullish. Now, that's already big, but when you combine it with CHAD ETF math, you start to see a real problem, right? So $14 billion in inflows. So there is not enough XRP to feed this machine unless the price goes vertical, right? So the price goes higher, guys, okay? If the price goes higher, which it will go, because if there's so much money pouring into an asset, right, there's so much demand and limited supply, it's going to balloon the asset, guys, throughout the stratosphere. So there will be enough supply. Okay, so Bitwise alone is already swallowing 6 million XRP per day. Multiply that by 12 funds, 72 million XRP per day. Really? 360 million per week, 1.4 billion per month, and 17 billion in the first year, right? That's actually insanity. I don't think it's going to be like actual 17 billion in a year, guys, that the ETFs will gobble up, okay, the amount of XRP. Because remember, if XRP price goes higher, right, XRP becomes more expensive. But it will most likely be in the billions if this keeps up. And here's the problem. There isn't like billions of XRP freely floating around for them to buy, right? The only way ETFs can get that much liquidity is if price moves so high that sellers actually appear, right? So that the ETFs can buy, guys. It's the same thing with the banks, right? The banks cannot buy right now. You know why? Because it will shoot XRP to unimaginable heights due to liquidity issues. Okay? But if XRP was literally extremely high in the thousands of dollars, it will be nothing, right? For them to pour in like $5 billion in a single clip, because there's so much liquidity, okay? When XRP is at 4 digits. Now does it make sense? So, in other words, the higher the ETF demand, the higher XRP must go, or the supply literally runs out, right? So it's mathematical here. Too many buyers, not enough XRP, something has to give, and the only thing that can adjust is price. Buckle up. So crazy, guys. Now, Dark Defender says a God candle. Okay, is a God candle about to appear? Let us actually investigate, because I'm actually extremely bullish. So here's the thing that I found out, which was very interesting. I checked how long was this like rise here, right? This rise right here, guys, and the time frame was about 10 days and 10 hours. Okay, from the bottom to the top, which marked the bottom and which marked the top. If we go to this high right here, okay, which marked the top, 10 days takes us to the actual bottom as of right now, right? The same thing happened there, guys. And then when 10 days struck, a reverse trend, right? 10 days just struck. What is it about to do? Is a reversing trend here. That's a little bit odd. Okay, so I do think that this thing minimum goes to 230, but honestly, there's a chance it even goes up to 250, right? Depending how FOMO, like fear of missing out, it could get, guys. Okay. Now for Bitcoin, let's check up on Bitcoin here. Bitcoin, there's no resistance, right? It's literally air. There's nothing that's going to hold it down. Now, the only thing that can possibly hold Bitcoin down here, okay, well, it is on the non-lock charts. It's battling through this resistance as soon as we go above 87.2K, which is battling right now. Next resistance is, you know where? You go to the daily chart. It's literally at around $94,000. Okay, because of the daily moving average. So if we pass that, we're going straight up to 100K then, right? So yeah, so the next major resistance is probably at 95K, right here, guys. Okay, wow. So this whole area held Bitcoin up. Amazing. So that could, okay. So how high is that for Bitcoin? Let's see. So 87K, we're right here. Let's say to 95K, 10% pump. Okay, a 10% pump for Bitcoin is a 2x multiplier for XRP, which takes XRP to 20%, 250. That's my call. I'm calling for $2.50 coming up this week, or sometime soon, right? The days are impossible to catch, but the price is more likely, guys. Okay, so I think 250. We're gonna go above this resistance level, right, and see what happens from there, just because of the calculations right there, right? And what's so funny to me is it seems like Jim Cramer, right, is normal again. Okay, why? Because inverse Cramer called the Bitcoin bottom to the day once again. So this just happened. So again, he got broken for a second there, right? But now he's back to being normal, becoming wrong. Okay, because here he says, I haven't watched this, but he probably says something bad about Bitcoin when Bitcoin was around 83K, 84K, 80K. I don't know.
Bitcoin is like at 81, and you're looking at what
83K. So Bitcoin was at 83K, and he says this.
Bitcoin is like at 81, and you're looking at what I regard as being the single worst moment in this decline was the moment between 330 and 430.
Yeah, so he was actually extremely bearish, guys. So again, he's working again, right? So this is fantastic to see. It seems like inverse Cramer is back to being normal again, because he was there, he was correct for a second there, right? He was broken.
And then Williams comes on, and then suddenly everything's fine. I don't think so.
So he says, I don't think everything's fine here, right? When Bitcoin is at 83K, what's Bitcoin now? 87K. That's actually insane, guys.
You don't think everything's fine?
No, there's a lot of people who have to get out. Let them get out. This is not what suddenly they wave a magic wand. We obviously have real issues. We have issues with building out the data center unlimited. We have issues with a lot of people, the strategies.
Wow. So he even said there's an issue with MicroStrategy. That's actually ridiculous, right? He goes on the news here and tells people to sell, right? Because he's ultra bearish, which called the exact bottom. Then, just a couple hours ago, he says there is no reason the future should be higher. This is the curse of the bulls. Faux optimism based on the Fed versus real pessimism based on the fundies. Again, he says there's no reason the future should be higher, right? He wants things to go lower, guys. The curse of the bulls, more likely, or more so, the curse of the bears. Okay, so this I'm bullish, guys. I really hope XRP hits 250. Okay, then I'm gonna sell the XRP that I bought yesterday, and then look for lower prices to 140 is my game plan here. Let's see what comes up next. Let the money flood in. Now, financial advice. All the stars are aligning, by the way, for this week to be bullish. Let's go. What is that? So, see ya.